Welcome to DL Paintings. So today I'm going to work up my mock-up here of Little Red Riding Hood going through the forest, and I use some birch trees this time. Usually I work with either pine trees or whatever, deciduous trees, maple trees, but today I wanted to do something completely different and I used birch trees. So before we get started, what I did is I drew out Little Red Riding Hood here. I made one birch tree here because that's the one I wanted in the foreground. And I painted the whole canvas in this section black, and I lightly did some black in here. This way it looks like the light is coming in down here at the ground. So before also I get started, I'm going to use Payne's Gray for the path, that way it doesn't blend in with the black. Regular white for the birch trees that I put in. This was Mars Black, and that's what I use for the background here. And I'm using Red Light, heavy bodied, and that's going to be Little Red Riding Hood's cape and hood. Okay, so let's get started. Oh, and I used a large flathead to cover a lot of ground up in here. And then for the trees, for different size birch trees, I'm going to use these two. If I want to do a little bit smaller, I'll do this one here. And to get some detailing in, whether it be on the birch trees, because there's these little marks on the bark with birch trees, I'm going to use this little liner. And I'm also going to use that for some detailing here on red. Alright, let's get going. Oh, and I did forget the gold. The gold, I'm going to put just a little bit of hair coming from the hood, because I'm not going to get into any faces on this one. Alright, so what I like to do is I like to start with white, because in my opinion, your blacks, your Payne's Gray, your red, they're kind of unforgiving colors. And what I mean by that is you have to rinse the brush many times to get it out. So I'm going to start with white. And you're not going to see it much, but I do have my palette. And don't forget your rinse cup. Gotta have your rinse cup and paper towel for cleaning the brushes. I do work with acrylic because I find it's a little bit easier on the cleanup and whatnot. So I think I'm just going to start here. I think the more on the brush is going to be the better. We'll go over it a few times, no problem. I like to fan out the bottom, make it look like the trunk of the tree. Try to use full strokes when you do it, like so. Now I'm probably going to reference my drawing a little bit, because I kind of like the way I have thin, wide, and I got this one tree growing on an angle. He's kind of off to the side. Kind of put this guy like this. Fan them out a little bit. You want to stagger these trees a little bit, this way it looks like some distance. Maybe one's taller than the other. There we go. Let's just reach right up in there. I think what I'm going to do too is I might paint over the tops. This way you kind of can't see them. I'm going to give it some effect. Birch trees are very straight. I like to have a little jazz music on in the background. Very relaxing. See how I kind of fan them out like so? Blending it nice. Here. This one I'm going to make a little thinner. Thinner ones make it look like distance in the background. Sometimes I like to work with just black and white and red. It kind of gives things a bit of an illusion. It's very cool on the eyes too. Everything is just 3 colors. Well, there's Payne's gray, but it's a version of black. This guy here, he's just doing his own thing. I don't know why, but he's just doing his own thing. Always fan out your edges at the bottom. You need a little bit more of that white. I'm going to switch back to the fatter brush. There we go. That's probably what I'm missing there. I think that looks better. What do you think? You know what? Let's just make all the trees go to the top. Yeah, there we go. We're all about the same height. It's been an interesting couple of days where I'm at. There was a massive water main break, so we've been having troubles with water. We had to boil our water. It's been in very interesting times. I don't like the way this tree looks. I have to kind of doctor that up. There we go. Let's just... much better. Much better. Now I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn the brush sideways. And I'm going to put a thin tree like that. Between them there. There we go. We want to make it look like this is a full forest. There's things in the distance here. There's many different size trees. I'm gonna give this one his paint here. You know what? I'm gonna use the wide angle. And let's make him the biggest tree. The biggest one. He's in the foreground. Let's just go for it. He's the big man on the block. That's who he is. Yeah. He is the biggest tree there is in this forest. Out. There we go. Let's just even them out there. There we go. Nice and thick. That is the mighty birch tree. There he is. He is the biggest one in the forest. He's the man. He's letting all the other little trees know that he's the man. Always rinse off your brushes as you go. Nothing worse when you gotta spend time cleaning those brushes. It's gonna give each one a little bit of a cleaning. Get all that water out too. Because if you don't, sometimes it makes the canvas run. And that's not fun. After you put all that hard work in there, let's just touch that up real quick. You don't want any water on those brushes. Acrylics and water kind of doesn't mix. Now, how do I have that? It looks kind of cool there. I'm going to go like this here. There we go. Just fan out those bottoms. Looks pretty cool. We got some distance growing there. I like that. I do like that. And this is going to be the last tree I add in. But this one's going to kind of look like she's walking in front of it. You know, that's going to be kind of cool. She's walking in front of this tree. You're not going to see the rest of this tree. Now let's go ahead and clean these brushes up. Definitely want to clean up your brushes. Now what I like to do too when I paint is I like to work on different areas to give the tree time to dry up a little bit before I put some touch-ups in with the black to make it really look like a birch tree. Actually, you know what? Instead of doing that, forget that idea. Let's put some branches on our birch trees. What's a tree without some branches? Little branches that just sway in the wind. Now I like to keep my wrist nice and loose when I do this. Makes the branches really come out nice. So you just kind of... What I saw in some pictures, you got to do a little bit of research sometimes, is birch trees, they don't have a lot of branches. You know, they just have a few little ones here and there. Most of the birch tree branches happen all the way at the tippy top. Every branch is always going to be a little different from the others. Vary them up too. Don't put them all at the top, don't put them all at the bottom. Some branches grow up, some branches grow down. Some are longer than others, and some just kind of hang out. Some trees have no branches. They don't like to sway, they're stiff. I have a very bad tendency. I like to even things out, but you shouldn't do that. Make things all different. Everything in life is different. If you get that kind of mark, just kind of blend it in. This way it doesn't look like it's stiff. You know, stiff marks. Now this guy's gonna have a nice branch. Because he's the biggest tree. He gets the biggest branch. Load up your paintbrush nice. It's very important. As you can see. Give this guy a little life there. I'll just give him one little one down here. There you go. He's the biggest guy on the block, so he gets the biggest branch. And I'll get a little one on this side, about here. And I think he'll get one here. There we go. I think that's pretty good. Yeah. That's pretty good. You know what? Get some extra branches. The more branches, the better. And we'll just leave that one there. Okay. Okay. Now I am happy. While that dries, I am going to get into the pathway using the Payne's Gray. Hope you like a little bit of jazz music in the background. You should always have something to relax you while you work. Cheers. Here we go. Now, for the illusion of distance, we're going to start small in a narrow spot down here. And then we'll widen it as we go. Now, I like to, when I edge, turn the brush sideways. And then when I want to cover a lot of ground, make it wide. Just kind of what I do. But don't forget, your tree's still here, even though he's white. Don't forget about the tree. Do your best to get those nice, even strokes in, those long, even, wide strokes. Now the edge of our path, we're going to make some wavy lines. This way it doesn't look so tight. You know, you don't want it to look You don't really want it to look so edgy. You want a little... And you could see it against the black too. The Payne's Gray does stand out against black. It's pretty cool that way. Okay. Clean off your brush. We want to cover some distance there, so I'm going to use a little bit of a wider brush. I don't want to go too wide, because I know if I go too wide, I'm going to cut into the rest of the picture. You don't want to do that. And try to get those nice strokes in there. Oh boy, I'm flicking some on myself. That's no good. You don't want to get it on the nice wall behind us. Make sure you go nice and easy. And sometimes I think the strokes on here is pretty cool, because you could kind of see, makes it look like the path there. I always like that. That's just my opinion. Aw, man. There we go. Turn it sideways when you edge in by little red. You don't want to get it too much in her area, because then it's going to be hard when you get into the red. It's going to blend too much. Payne's Gray kind of looks like a blue-black. Almost looks like when they used to do the Batman comic. I never knew it, but when they used to do the Batman comic, it's different shades of blue. And I thought about it, and it makes a lot of sense, because if you use straight black, you'd never see him. So I thought that was a pretty cool trick that I would definitely share with you guys. Okay, so far so good. I like the way it's looking. I'm going to get into my red now. Make sure your brush is really clean. I found a little bit of white. If I would have put that on there, oh boy, it would have been all game over. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to make some edges. You don't want any hard line edges, because her hood should look like she's wearing that hood. You want to cover up some of that other stuff there. There we go. Make it a bit of a curve too, because hoods kind of curve when you put them up. Now I think what I'm going to have to do is etch in a little bit of a line. I might want to use my Payne's Gray when I do it, because I don't think it's going to work well. You're never going to be able to see her arm or any detail. just gonna kind of give it a quick outline there, and then we'll have to do our etching. I see some of the Payne's gray is mixing in. That's okay. If it mixes in at the bottom, it's really not going to matter. It's actually going to add a little bit to the painting. I left her basket there, if you could tell. I might just kind of, just a little bit now. Go like this here. Just the bottom is going to have that little bit of mark to it. Because when you're walking, it's going to get dirty, right? Okay. Wow, that's a lot of red that's caked up on that. And that was supposed to be my detail brush. Good thing we brought this one along. I think so. It's a good idea. Here we go. Here's the cap. Always put your cap back on your paint this way it doesn't dry out. Now, let's see. Let's use a little bit of our Mars Black. Just a little bit. Okay. Let's put some details into the birch trees. Gotta make that bark look good, or else it won't look like a birch tree. All got to look a little bit different too. Nothing's ever the same. And that's kind of challenging, because where do you start if nothing's the same? Just let your wrist go loose. That'll do what it would like. That's pretty cool, if I do say so myself. And I think I just did. Here we're just going to make some dots, because it's so thin, you don't want to ruin the tree. There we go. I'm very impressed. I haven't heard my puppy barking. Probably means she's getting into trouble. Remember, folks, if your kids or your dogs are quiet, they're getting into trouble. You know it's true. Let's start here. That looks really cool. Trying to do this quick for our videos. You don't want to have the videos too long, then they don't upload right. Now this guy is going to have a lot of detail. Looks good, looks good. Alright. Now for this, I'm going to go back to the Payne's Gray. And I'm just going to kind of etch that in there. She's carrying her basket after all, you know. Get some black. I'm just gonna do the basket in straight black, because why not? It'll keep a nice contrast between the other colors that we got going on. Okay, very good. Now I gotta clean the brush real good, because there's only one last detail that I want to do. I gotta make sure this brush is really clean for it. And that's Red's golden hair. I got a feeling I should let this dry first before I do the last finishing detail. But let's see how it works. Let's see how it works. Just gonna kind of I went too high on the hair there. I don't know. I don't know if the hair does it for me. What do you guys think? That is Little Red Riding Hood going through the birch tree forest. See you guys later.